Hey guys, welcome back to Astral Diaries. Oh my god, I'm excited that I have a really good experience to share with you guys, but at the same time really pissed because I'm doing this a second time. I literally completed this morning, had it all ready to go. My phone was really running out of memory. I had to delete a bunch of stuff, and then when I restarted my phone, of all the things, this freaking video was like 12-minute video gone. But you know what, the good news is I'm redoing this kind of where it took place. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Again, if you're new to this channel, Astral Diaries is a channel dedicated to astral projection OBE experiences, where I share the experiences and also together learn from mistakes, and learn and also avoid mistakes in the future. So the other one thing I want to say, part of this intro, is that it had been a while, man, since I had a projection, and I have my theory. Part of it is allergy season, man. I did a video about this a couple months ago, beginning of allergy season. Didn't get it, probably got like 20 views, Not a lot of people watched it, but for me personally, man, because when it comes to these projections, I relax my body, and sometimes I use techniques, sometimes I'm just kind of have the will, with the will go to bed. And what was happening this last 3 months, in fact I even looked it up, was March, April, May. So now we're approaching June, and my nose, man, I usually try to kind of really relax my body, and then kind of on the side, and then kind of get on the back, because it's really uncomfortable sometimes to be on the back too long. And as soon as I would get on my back, I couldn't breathe out of my nose. And then instead of relaxing, dozing off, and hopefully having a projection, I'll be freaking in the bathroom, clearing my nose and stuff like that. So that's my theory. And then the last couple of days when I wasn't having the nose issues, I'm like, man, I might have a projection. The other thing I want to say before I dive into this is I have to go almost a month without having a projection to kind of almost mean it. You know what I mean? Like if you're old enough, you watch Liar Liar, when Jim Carrey tells the little boy, make the wish but mean it. I go to bed almost every night when I wake up in the middle of the night with the intention of having, but I have to almost go a month without having one. So that's kind of what happened. And then before I forget, guys, I'm going to point out where the exit happened. Is I had two specific goals during this projection, and I also avoided two mistakes I made. So I want to make that clear. The goal was, if you've watched my channel, I have a dice on the way to one of my windows inside a Red Bull box, a card box, where my goal is to look at the dice. I try to do that. And then if you've followed my channel, I have a video called Hugging a Deceased Relative. In that video I told you guys my goal is to access this relative again. So that was my second goal. I'm telling you guys, man, this was the longest experience I've had to date. I don't know what to name this video. I think that's what I'm gonna name it. We'll see. But let's go. So what happened was, so before I actually went to bed with very strong intention, man. I was really serious about having experience this time. So my nose wasn't bothering me. I did a little techniques between a combination of Raduga and a William Buhlman. It couldn't trigger anything, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed with the intention, which is another technique that I do. And what happened was, I found myself in a state where I wasn't dreaming, but I was kind of half asleep, half awake. I was with this guy that I know. Again, please remember, I did this video this morning. I'm freaking redoing the whole thing. I was walking side by side with this guy that I know in physical, but we were kind of buddies. We're the way we were talking, the way we were interacting, we're like buddies. And as we're walking, all of a sudden, a shift happens. I knew. It's really hard to explain. I knew something happened. And next thing I know, I was in a vibration. I did the whole rollout. If you followed my channel in the last two experiences, the last one I was dangling from my bed. The one before that, I couldn't make it from my closest window. So that's what happened. I hit the floor, and I couldn't. I immediately remembered, I said, I better get away from the bed, from the room, which is something that I know. And so I don't repeat my two mistakes in the last ones that I had, which is a week or two apart. So this doesn't happen every night. So anyways, so I literally went for the dice, which is on the way to one of the windows. The window's over here, actually. It's in there. So I went to try to verify the dice, floated over. This is a place that I can't really reach. And that box wasn't there. The box of the dice wasn't even there. But try not to waste too much time. I'm like, okay, forget this. And then I try to fly out of the window, which is over there. You guys can't see it. There's a window there. You know, the theme of this projection was something, a difficulty making it through simple barriers like a window. I'm telling you guys, I flew up to this window. It's about my height. And I ran my hand. I wasn't able to make through it. It was like this resistance. And I pushed through. And next thing I know, imagine a water drop, a teardrop. Like this freaking window turned into that, and I was in it, all curled up. Slowly, barely made it out, and I was around here. But of course, as soon as I hit the floor, the environment changed. So my first goal was to look at the dice. Didn't work. Now I'm trying to access this deceased relative, and I see people. There's like a younger, you know, people in their maybe early 20s probably, you know, to be safe here. Younger crowd. And as I asked for this deceased relative by name, not like kind of like telepathically, and she just, you know, I see this girl that kind of looked like her when she was younger, but it wasn't her. It was not her, and I could tell. Okay, this is a little baby crow that I've been seeing here for the last few days. Man, I wonder if it's injured. Oh yeah, shoot, maybe it's injured. Fuck, okay. Anyways, I saw this little crow yesterday. But anyways, this girl looked kind of like this deceased relative, but it wasn't her, I could tell. And then I kept asking for her. Nothing was happening. And then finally, I may have to see if I can grab that crow on the way back and take her to like a bird place shelter. We'll see. Anyways, I asked for her after a while of not seeing her, or her not appearing. I'm like, well, let me go and start talking to some of these people. And there's like a little group of people, like girls. I'm like, hey, are you guys souls? Are you guys, is this afterlife, whatever? And they kind of gave me that typical kind of teenage answer. They're like, I don't know, like kind of like shrugged, you know, their shoulders. And then I saw these guys, this group of kids. I'm like, hey, what's your guys' name? And one of them was like, 4. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. And then the other one, I'm like, what's your name? He's like, 5. I'm like, I don't know, these kids are like just messing with me, or, you know. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by that crow still, so I got to push through this video because I don't want to do this a third time. So I keep going, and then there's like a little strip, like a kind of U straight down, and I go in there. The detail is crazy, man. Like, I'm in this experience for so long, you have no idea. It's like literally I'm walking, rubbing shoulder by people, clothes, very detailed, like little shops, little restaurants area almost. And I make a full circle, and the whole time I try again for this deceased relative, keeps asking her name, didn't show up. And then I made a full circle again. The detail is amazing, very real. And I passed by this little bar looking area. There's newspapers. I try to look at them for the date. Oh yeah, before I do that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought with the crow. There's when I asked those guys their names and stuff, I asked somebody what year it is, and he kind of gave an answer like as though, wait, we know you guys keep asking this, it's blah blah blah, and I forget what he said though. As though other projectors have asked the same thing, and he answered, and the answer made sense at the time, but not, you know, when he's, I don't really remember it right now. The other thing I forgot from my first video was, you know, I almost kind of like the fact that I cannot access a deceased relative on demand like this, because, you know, sometimes people say, well, this is all a creation of your mind, illusion. Well, why is it that I can't access her? I accessed her once, and the video that I can put in the description. By the way, check the description for everything I've missed and every videos that I mentioned. So yeah, those guys kind of said something like, oh yeah, well, it's blah blah blah, you know, like kind of like, oh, as though trying to say, why do you, this is really, you guys always ask this, kind of referring to me and maybe other out-of-body travelers, the way he came across. So going back to this bar where I was trying to look at the date on the newspaper, I tried to look for the date. I'm like, man, this is gonna take forever. Small fine print of newspaper. I just asked. I said, hey guys, what year is this? And there's like just a group of guys. They're like, oh, it's year 2000. And I'm like, oh, I'm from 2025. And just kind of walked away. And I kept going through this little strip. At some point, I wanted to get out of it. Went through another window. Tried to go through a window with difficulty. And I saw some buildings. I'm like, yeah, what if I fly, go into one of those buildings? By the way, Andre, all the Darius students, they're talking about all these different realms and stuff like that. For me, it all goes like this. Maybe I should try to access different things when I'm in these experiences. But for me, it's typical the way I'm explaining it to you. So I try to go through a buildings that I see, go through a window. I'm like, yeah, last time I did something like that, it just went dark on me. And the experience in it, I'm like, let's forget that. And then I go towards a road, like a street area. It's kind of like nighttime. And I see cars passing by. And I'm like, again, I forgot something. As I entered that, because this kind of like relates to what I'm about to tell you guys. As I went to that strip, there's a lot of people, like girls too. And one point I was kind of walking next to this girl really close to me, and like, I don't know, somehow we just kind of kissed, she's like a blonde girl. And I've done a whole series about like astral sex and stuff like that, and I knew better not to do anything more than that, because all it does is ends it. If you want to watch that series, go ahead and watch it. So going back to being right outside, you can see why I made that connection. Like, I was looking at these cars, and I'm like, I want to like jump in a car, just jump in it and end up next to anybody who's driving it. I was like, that's something cool. I mean, I don't know why I want to do that, because you're like in this playground, you can do anything you want. So I literally try to hover and jump into cars as they were driving, and I missed one. And I was even concerned about getting hit by them, but I wasn't getting hit by them. So this car that's coming in here right now, I was literally hovering over them and like trying to get in them, and it wasn't working. And then what I did was I went across the street, and this car kind of got a little bit slow, and I kind of went through it. Next thing I know, I went through the glass, and I was like over, like really almost face to face to the driver, which happened to be a girl, like this blonde girl. And then there was another kiss. So I don't know, it's weird. By the way, I wanted to say this. I left this from my previous video. In my last three experiences, when there's like a girl involved, there's always been blonde. And nothing against blondes, I'm not really interested in blondes. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, but right now, personal preference is Asian girls, but just throwing it out there. I kind of missed that from, Asian girls are currently preference. I don't know why these blondes keep showing up in these experiences. So, and then after that, I don't remember. After that, she was playing this music that I recognized. It was kind of like a hip hop R&B or something. I recognized the song, and it made me laugh too. It was like a nice hip song. I don't remember anything. After that, I kind of find myself in like floating around by the side of these buildings, and then I kind of sense, that feeling that the experience is coming to an end. And you hate, it's like, oh my god, there's really nothing. The only thing you can do is like start touching things, and I was already kind of floating in the air anyway. But what I want to wrap it up by, guys, is like, this was such a long experience. I mean, when I got out of it, I was in my bed. I was just in shock, because I hadn't had a full-blown one in a while, and it was nice to experience one finally, because I'm like kind of worried, like, what's going on? How come I'm not having them? The last two were kind of barely making the side of the bed. So this was a nice full-blown, and my cat was sleeping right next to me, and I'm like getting on top of me in my face, meowing, and that probably played a role too. She kind of let me have this experience. So that's pretty much it, guys. And then what I said in my last video at the end was, I did another little reaction to one of Darius's videos, Darius Wright, with Emilio Ortiz or something. I'll put that in the description too, which I think was probably one of the best interviews to date. He asked a lot of great questions, back-to-back short questions with like precise short answers by Darius. I would say this is probably the best interview of Darius. I totally forgot about this interview. And I kind of answered my 10 questions that I had for Darius. I did a video about that about a week ago. I'll put that in the description too. But that pretty much wraps it. It was a really good long experience, and you know, avoided the mistakes that I made in the last couple one, and couldn't really. I wish I reached this deceased relative, man, because this was such a long experience. I could probably get so many questions and follow-up questions, assuming it would last. Because one thing with seeing a deceased relative is very emotional, and that can end the experience for you. But if it lasted as long as it did, it would have been a nice one for me to really like dig more deeper, get more answers from her. But anyways, that was it for now, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. I think this version came out better than the first one, so maybe it was. Oh yeah, and I gotta go check on that little crow, assuming I can even catch it. Again, guys, please like, share, subscribe. See you guys on the next one.